Good evening. Welcome to WSBI, your resource for success podcast program, where you get to meet inspiring women-owned businesses from across the country. And now, for your host, Kimberly McLemore.
All right, good evening and welcome to WSBI, your resource for success podcast program, where you get to meet inspiring entrepreneurs and women-owned businesses from across the country. I am your host, Kimberly McLemore, CEO and founder of the Women's Small Business Initiative, LLC, and award-winning author. Welcome to another night of sharing. With us, we have special guest Christina Flach, celebrity makeup artist, creator, and CEO of Pretty Girl Makeup. Christina is a celebrity hair and makeup artist based in the San Francisco Bay Area. After starting her career in 1995, she founded her own makeup line, Pretty Girl Makeup, and has acquired many notable clientele. She has worked with many major television networks, celebrities, designers, department stores, magazines, and big-name brands. She is an expert at creating looks that allow her clients' natural beauty to shine through making every client feel like the best version of themselves, on the inside and the outside. In addition to her career as a makeup artist, Christina is a philanthropist, a beauty expert on NBC's California Live, and a guest on a variety of podcasts. Christina is represented by Ford Artists in New York City, LA, and Miami. So without further ado, please help me welcome to my platform, Miss Christina Flach. How you doing, Christina?
Well, hi, Kimberly. How are you today? Thanks for having me.
Oh, absolutely. I am fine. I'm excited. I'm glad that we finally got to get together.
Yes, I'm excited too.
Yeah, it was a little crazy last week, but hey, we made it and we're here. So I'm excited to have you on, and especially because we are focusing on love this month, the month of February. It means something different for everybody throughout this time of month. And of course, throughout the year, we all think about love, but for some reason, the month of February hits a little harder. So I'm really excited to have a conversation about the importance of making clients be the best version of themselves. But before we step into that, Christina, why don't you tell my listeners a little bit more about who Christina really is?
Oh, well, I just did a segment actually for NBC California Live last week for Valentine's Day. So this is actually a very appropriate time. And it's my birthday month, and Valentine's Day is my favorite holiday. So it's all good stuff. I think let's see, what can I tell you more about me? I think you covered it pretty much. I am a celebrity makeup artist. I am the mother of 5, and I have created my own line, and now I am the beauty expert on California Live, which is really great. And I try to make people look and feel like the best versions of themselves when they are getting, ready for their photo shoots or for their events. So that's pretty much what I do.
All right. So tell me how you got into makeup, first of all, and then what made you decide that you wanted everybody to look as good as you are? Because I've seen your pictures and you are absolutely gorgeous. So we know you look good, Christina.
Aren't you the nicest? It's a lot of smoke and mirrors, I'll tell you, and hiring myself.
Oh, goodness. So how did you actually get into this?
Well, I started working on my friends and family. My mom had been diagnosed with stage 4 brain cancer, and she was going out to dinner with my dad after she'd done chemo and radiation. And I wanted to make her look like she normally, how she used to look. And so with my very few makeup skills and her very few makeup products, I managed to make her look and then feel like her old self. It was just, it was astonishing to me once I had done her makeup, and that her mood totally changed. So that's always stuck with me. And it's an important part of my job. Regardless, I'm working with a celebrity or a fashion house or a model or a bride, when they're going to get in front of the camera doesn't lie. So if you're sad or you're depressed or you're not in a good mood, it's not going to make my work look any better. So I really have had to figure out in a quick, 30 seconds, whether my client wants quiet or they want to chat or they want to tell me something, if they need tea or they need aromatherapy, hand massage. I figure it out really quickly. It's one of my better skills, I think, is reading people. And then, obviously doing what I do to make them look like their best versions of themselves. But when I talk about beauty from the inside out, I am a very big proponent of taking care of oneself from the inside out. It's not just about the makeup.
Right.
It's about nutrition and water and, exercise and getting enough rest and meditation and being grateful. All these things, are part of making us the best versions of ourselves. Giving back, doing charity work. There's all these different things that I do to make me feel like the best version of me so I can give back to my family, my clients, my children, my business partners, the best version of me. So it's kind of a bunch of different things besides hopefully having some makeup. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And because I like the fact that you just said that, that it's not just about putting on the makeup. And the reason why that stands out more for me, because today we see so many people who are very good at doing makeup, but what it has done is it has literally changed them from who they are. You see these before and you see these after, I'm like, that can't be the same person. Even though, now with the technology and everybody's on their TikTok, their Instagram pages and so forth, they're using it social media. But to me, it's so deceiving to see somebody who takes themselves and makes them so different that lets me know that there's so many other things going on within inside of them that they're not happy about who they are. So you said you were very good at picking up and noticing that there's something going on with the individual. So before you start to put their makeup on, there may be some things you may have to do differently. Talk a little bit more about that process.
Well, it's so funny. Every client is different. I have some clients like my friend Tyler Florence, who's a celebrity chef, and I've been working with him for over 16 years. He and I have, he's like my brother, and I laugh harder with him than I think anyone on the planet. Mm-hmm. But I also know when he needs to do a conference call, when I'm getting him ready for something, that I, need to not engage with him and let him focus on what he needs to do. And it's just kind of learning, respecting people's boundaries and seeing what they need. It's not about me when I'm with my client. It's 100% about them. And I think that's what kind of differentiates a good makeup artist from one that's not going to work a lot. You really have to, you never want to hear feedback from a client to your agent like, oh my gosh, she was talking nonstop. She was on her phone the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
She was difficult. She wanted to know when she was leaving. She was like, all those things I just don't do because, I want to work. I have a very good work ethic. I do more than I need to do. I will help out the stylist or the lighting guy or whoever. So because it's a team that we are all creating something together. And it does make a difference. I've had clients that, have arrived in really bad moods, or they're really tired, or they've been on a long flight. And I get my aromatherapy out, my lavender, I massage their hand, I get them some tea. Sometimes they need something to eat. And then sometimes they want to tell me things that, it's so interesting. People will oftentimes tell a stranger more than they would tell their best friend.
Yes.
And so that happens to me quite a bit. So I have a lot of secrets that I just don't ever tell anybody because I would never work again. But it's kind of an honor, if you think about it, that someone's willing to open up and share part of their life with you.
Mm-hmm. But you've allowed them to be them. And that's the key. Even though you're doing their makeup, like you said, you want them to be the best version of themselves. So you're allowing them just to have that comfort and not feel like they have to be somebody different because they are going through this process of getting a makeover, so to speak. So it's like, it's just so much easier, as we always know, to talk to people we don't really know, because we know it's not going to go back to somebody else, but just taking that time to even just pay enough attention to say, you know what, before I can start sitting here and doing this young lady's makeup or young man's makeup or whomever, that, you know what, I can see that there's other things going on. Let's just give them the time they need. That shows that you do care. And, we live in a world today that's moving constantly at 100 miles per hour. So to be able to take that little bit of time to show them that they're special at that moment, that's important. Like you said, that's what keeps you in business and keeps people coming back to you because of the uniqueness and the love that you show towards them as a part of the client.
Yes, I think it's like, if you think about it, it's always how you make someone feel at the end of the day that they leave you, their time with you, whatever they've experienced. And so when your energy is positive and happy. And that's probably why I wake up extra early on days when I have a shoot and make sure that I have had my green juice and my tea and I've eaten and I've exercised a bit, done some meditation. So I'm able to give them all they need because I've taken care of me. And it's self-care. I have come to the conclusion is not selfish. It's actually enabling you to give back more to everyone else when you've taken care of yourself. It's also a really good example to set for your children that my kids all know that I work out, that I eat well, that I drink a lot of water, that I make sure I get a lot of rest. And so for them, it's more of a lifestyle that they have experienced all their life that they are going to emulate because that's what they know.
Right.
So I do really think that the example we set for our kids, it's not the words. Our kids know when we're, giving them a crock of crap, right? They know when we're not, it's our example. It's not our words that matter.
Exactly.
And I think, our kids are watching everything we do, which can be good, but then sometimes if we're not being our best self, it's not so good, right?
Exactly. But you're right. It's we represent something to them, and so it's not always about what we say. You're right. It's our actions always speak louder than words, and that's in everything that we do in life. So your actions towards the people that you work with every day, that is important, and they'll never forget that experience, and then they're always willing to come back for more because they can trust you, and that's the key thing too. And I sit back and I was thinking about when you were talking earlier, you said you had 5 kids, right?
I do.
I was like, wow, yeah, that's amazing. So to have 5 kids and then have the beautiful career that you have, and them seeing now, is it a balance of how many girls and how many boys, or is it all one or the other?
I have 3 boys and 2 girls, and
Okay.
I have a niece, actually a 6th child. I have a niece that I have kind of adopted as well. So
Wow.
I have 3 girls and 3 boys.
So there you go. so to have, like I said, it's just great that they have you as, someone that represents exactly what the way of life should be and how to live. Obviously, we know things aren't always perfect all the time, but at the same token, you're setting the stage, and it's no different than what you're doing when you're working with these other individuals, your clientele, when it comes to making the best version of themselves. So talk to me about how do you, I'm sure you've had clients that come in where they don't want to be themselves. How do you handle that?
Oh, that's an interesting question. I just try to listen to what they want. It's really hard. Sometimes I will get someone that thinks they want their makeup done by me because I am really good at what I do. But then they're so accustomed to how they do their own makeup that when they see how I do it differently, it makes them uncomfortable. So it's a very interesting thing that we get, sometimes women or men get stuck with how they look and they're unwilling to expose themselves to feel. It's so funny how they can feel different, how I do their makeup as opposed to how they do their own. And it makes them very uncomfortable and they don't like it. So that's always an interesting, when that happens, it's like, well, they should probably not have a makeup artist.
Right.
Because, they don't want to, it's not like models or anything because they'll just do whatever they're told, right? But on a photo shoot, but it's more like people, like a bride or something. And most celebrities are pretty open. They trust you, what they would like. I always ask them, it doesn't matter what I think. I want the client to feel good. If I can tell that they're starting to get uncomfortable with what I'm doing to them, I will do it the way that they're comfortable because I need them to feel okay I don't want them distracted when they get in front of the camera. So sometimes even though I know what I'm doing looks visually better, I sometimes have to just do what's going to make them feel better. If that makes sense.
Right. No, you're right. Because I know that, we have, they call some of them bridezillas, but we know I'm not going to refer that everybody is a bridezilla, but, there are some people who just want it their way. So I always often wonder when you have people who are in the position that you're in, being a makeup artist, that, do they really truly understand that and value who you are and what you're doing? Because the key is that they're there for a reason, because you can see something in them that they may not see. and may not ever see, but but we all have this perception of how we think we're supposed to look. You know, we get in the mirrors and we know we're our own worst critics as usual, and especially with women. So it's one of those situations that, you know, it always goes in the back of my mind, and, you know, going through the process of getting somebody, you know, a real makeup artist to do the makeup is like, how do you really see me the way I think that I see me, you know, see myself? So I've always, you know, is very curious about that situation, and especially in your scenario. So here you are, you have your own makeup line called Pretty Girl Makeup. Talk to the listeners a little bit about your makeup line.
Well, I started my line in 1999, a very long time ago, because I was a mom driving around all the time with a water bottle, and I couldn't seem to find a lip gloss that would stay on. One would either be wipe right off with one sip of water, or if I found one that was matte and long lasting, it was really drying and just felt terrible. So I thought, oh, well, I can't be that hard. I'll create my own line. I'll create my own lip gloss. And it took significantly longer than I had anticipated. And that's why I tell people that are trying to be an entrepreneur, really make sure you love what you're doing very much, because if you love it so much that you would do it not making any money. And in fact, it might be costing you money at the beginning. So that's why it's super important. It's going to take a lot more money and time than you will think. And so if you're enjoying the process, I think you will succeed. I think if you're going into a business just trying to make a lot of money, you're doomed to fail, because it is so much more everything than you think it's going to be. Exactly. So I worked with a beauty chemist for about a year to formulate the texture and then the colors. And I really did enjoy the whole process. And then I would test it out on all my friends and family who are all different colors of the rainbow. And I was so grateful they were my guinea pigs, but then it was really a fun process. And so now that I'm expanding my line and doing different projects, I love all different aspects. Today, I was working with my assistant, Sophia, and we were writing a magazine article. And I give her ideas of what I want to speak about and write about, and then she makes me sound like I'm super smart.
Well, we know you're
like,
smart.
Wow, I sound brilliant. So, we write for magazines. We will, we have to get ready for our next segment on NBC, which we love doing. I'm creating a new line called I'm Too Busy, so we're working on that. So there's, then I do the podcast, and so, and then we have all the social media and everything. So there's always so much to do. And I really have learned, and I struggle with this, and I'm sure most people do as well, of, I'm being happy with what I accomplished in the day and not beating myself up of what I did not accomplish. I really had to learn, I struggled with this of just being a little gentler and kinder to myself and being proud of what I did accomplish in the day. And I think that helps my attitude when I'm, not so hard on myself. I would never, my girlfriend Diana had said to me once, I was, beating myself up, and she said, you would never speak to me the way you speak to you. And I thought, oh my gosh, you're so right. Like, why would I be beating the heck out of myself? It doesn't, it's not productive. It's not useful. And it's just, it's a really bad habit. And so I've really tried to okay, at whatever time of day I finish work, think of all that I did accomplish. And it makes me feel a lot better about myself.
Right. And as when you're a person who's in business and you've been in business for a long time, and you're a perfectionist, because when you think about it, every face that you do, in their eyes, it has to be perfect, right? So, it's
true. And it's so funny when people when people don't understand, their face is mine. I don't even consider it their face. Once I start, doing their makeup, I'm just thinking I care more about your face than you do. You have no idea how much I care about this face. And it's true. I really do. I care so much. It's important to me. I want them to, because once it gets out there in the world in a magazine or TV, it's there forever. And so I want it to look like the best I can make it look. So it is super important to me. I take a lot of pride in my work, and I also want people to feel good. I want them to feel good and look good at the same time. And so it's the most satisfying work. I love it so much. But it's also intense, there are long hours when I'm doing a shoot. I'm waking up super early and it's a long day. You're on your feet and you're really focused. It's intense. But it's so great. And then days that I'm not on a photo shoot, I'm doing podcasts or I'm writing articles or I'm, working on something else. So it's, what I like about it is it's never this, every day is always different. I'm in a different place unless I'm like in my office, like I am right now, looking out at the water. But I love that. I would feel very stagnant and caged if I had to go into a cubicle every day and just do the same thing over and over. I mean, I know, like, my sister is an executive for Costco, and she loves what she does, and she loves the consistency of her days. It's always it's different, obviously, but it's always there. To me, that would feel like jail. And she thinks my work is just, she can't understand what I do. She's like, your career gives me a heart attack. You don't know when you're working. It could be Saturday. You don't know where you're working. You don't know when you're working. Right. And so we both just laugh because we're like, my sister and I are super close, but we just crack up about each other's careers because they couldn't be more different.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. But, that's the beauty of it. You live in the free life, so to speak, and she's living her life in the freedom that she enjoys too. And that's the thing. I think it's funny because when people talk about going into business, and especially when they go into business for themselves, they literally think, oh, my life is going to be so perfect, and I'm going to be able to do my own hours, and nobody's going to be able to tell me what to do. And then they start to get into reality.
Oh my gosh, that's
It's like, wait a minute, this is not what I signed up for.
Right. Well, you know what? I've taken perfect out of my vocabulary. There's no such thing. And I have this thing that a perfect, what is it? It's this quote that I saw, it doesn't mean, a perfect thing is not always perfect. It's, even though it is perfect, it's perfectly imperfect. And I think, just striving to be the best version of you, 1% better every day, that's probably a healthier way of looking at life.
Exactly. And living in that moment, like you were saying, taking the opportunity to just realize what you've accomplished for the day is enough and it's good. So just taking that little moment and enjoying it and celebrating it. And, when people ask, well, why are you celebrating what you did? Look, this is what I accomplished today. And a lot of times that's the problem that we have. We're so busy looking, how far in the future can we go? Well, what's going to happen tomorrow? And then how's the rest of the week going to look? And what's going to be 6 months down the road? We don't know. All we can do is continue to plan. But whatever happens that day, it happens. As I think about a week or so ago, I was thinking about a post I had wrote in reference, thinking about the fact that what kind of day are you going to wake up with? Whether it's a good day, a bad day, in between day, whatever that day is, learn to embrace and learn from it. Because a lot of times we just don't do that because we're so busy looking ahead to the next day that we can't even remember what we did from the day before, a week ago or 2 weeks ago. And then here we're already in 2023 and it's like, well, what did I do last year? So because we're so busy worrying about that next moment in life. And it's really not a fault thing. It's just something that it's been implanted into us from the time we've been brought into this world about what our expectations are in life. And then when you get this opportunity to live in doing the work and love that you do, you enjoy every moment of what you're doing. Otherwise you wouldn't be doing it. That's probably the most important part about what it is that we do as we're here in this world and living, is doing something that we love and then, taking it seriously. And you're actually pulling out the beauty out of every individual that you're working with. That's a blessing in itself, because like I said, a lot of times we don't see what you would see in us, but to be able to sit there and tell that person, how perfect they are in their own right, that's important because it lets them walk out that door knowing that they really are that person that they've been thinking about and dreaming about, but not visually and physically seeing it. And that's because of the world we live in today. Everything is,
it's true.
We're all kind of put on a certain type of pedestal and we're told we have to be either A, B, C, or D. And you may not be any of those. So, you giving that individual that opportunity to see clearly, I think is wonderful. And this brings me to my...
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. And this kind of...
The quote is, I just remembered it. It's a beautiful thing isn't perfect.
There you go. And you're right. And that's the key. But the key is, too, is that beauty is always in the eye of the beholder. And that's the difference, you know.
That is true. That is true.
You know, because when we look at ourselves, it's always, well, what are people thinking? You know, how come they don't think I'm this and that? But because when they see you, they see something different. But if you can't see yourself, then that's where the problem comes in. So this is kind of
right. If you're not clear, no one else is going to be clear.
Exactly. So, you know, as we were talking a little bit earlier, that, you know, this is the month of love. So we, you know, there are going to be many young ladies out there and young men who, you know, they're thinking about, what am I going to do tonight? You know, and even though not everybody celebrates the month of February, it's sometimes the hardest month. But what tips, though, would you provide for those who do want to get up and say, you know what, I want to look fabulous in a different way today, or I want to see myself the way I truly see myself? Give some tips on a few makeup tips to help them get themselves started.
Okay, well, taking care of your skin is super important, making sure that it's moisturized before you even start putting on your makeup. And everyone has discoloration under their eyes and their eyelids typically, I would say 95% of the time. So I make sure there's concealer under the eye. I don't put a big glob of it. I'll do it in layers, thin layers, under the eye, on the eyelid. Filling in the brows, I would have the eyelid light, a kind of a creamy color, and then maybe start with a little bit of sheer gold in the corner, like by your nose, and keep the middle of it light as well. And then do a liner, a very thin liner on top and bottom of the lashes. You can fill that in with some shadow on top of it, just in case you made a little mistake. That's a good little trick. And then another little layer of concealer. Get some, you know, a little bit of blush or bronzer on the cheeks. If you have any excess skin under the chin, I will put a little bronzer under there because it gives the illusion that it's distracting from the light. And the lips, you know, you can do a beautiful red lip, or maybe you want to do a sheer nude lip, and then you can fill it in with a lip liner, lipstick, and then some lip gloss. It'll give the illusion of fuller lips. So that's my 1 minute makeup tip.
There you go. I love it. I was like, the one I liked the most was like, oh, that I got that, you know, that little extra chin thing going on. Sometimes I'm like, why is it look like I have an extra chin? Yeah.
Yes. And then also the mascara, start, you know, close to the nose and start at the root and go all the way out. Extend it to the corners. You want those to be a little bit longer.
Right.
Do the mascara in layer, you know, 2 or 3 layers as well. Mascara only lasts typically about 3 months. So get a new one. Don't think they're going to get better as time goes on. They're going to kind of dry out. So
exactly.
Those are my makeup tips.
Well, I love it. I love it. So for those who are listening, there's your 1 minute makeup tip to get yourself prepared, ready to go. And for those, though, who actually are in your area and want to connect. Now, do you travel outside the area, too, and do makeup for those?
I do.
Okay.
I go all over the country. Yes.
All right. Well, see, no excuses, right? So we need a good makeup artist. We know who to call. But that's
yes, please do. Check out ChristinaFlach.com and PrettyGirlMakeup.com.
There you go. I was just going to ask you to say now. I don't even have to ask, but is there anything special, though, anything else you'd like to share with us this evening before we close up tonight?
I wish everyone a very happy February, full of laughter and love and light. And you can't love enough. There's not enough love in the world. So love big.
Exactly. Yes, that's a daily prayer of mine, is that we definitely need more love in this world, because there's way too much tragedy that we're seeing. It's just too much some days to even want to look at the news and all that. So it's like, where can I find an area where it's just nothing but good? So, you know, you got to
I think it's a choice. You know, I think happiness is a choice, and how you choose to look at the world. You can choose to look at the world like it's a beautiful, amazing place, or you can look at it as it's doom and gloom. So
that's right.
Things happen, but there's way more fantastic, beautiful, incredible things that are going on in the world if we just focus on those and not all the dark.
Exactly. There you go. Well, I guess, you know, I don't want to say anything else about that, because you just ended it perfectly. You're absolutely right. And, you know, Christina, it has been such a pleasure to be able to talk with you this evening.
Thank you.
I'm just
Thank
excited.
you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Happy Valentine's Day to you.
Thank you. And you too. And happy birthday. Enjoy that birthday.
Thank you. I will enjoy that birthday.
All righty then. Well, again,
Right.
thank you for coming on
Take
to
care.
the show tonight. All right. You take care of yourself.
Take care. Love you.
Love
Bye.
you too. Bye-bye. All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And for everybody else, before we close tonight's show, I hope you were able to learn about what it really means to have natural beauty. That natural beauty is not really about just what's on the outside. It's about what comes from the inside to the out. That means it's not just about putting that makeup on. It's called taking care of yourself emotionally, mentally, physically. All of those things exude beauty. So if you're interested in learning more about how to create the look you want, let's have that conversation. I can definitely get you connected with Christina Flach. She is amazing. Like I said, a celebrity makeup artist, but she doesn't just work with celebrities. So if you want to learn more, like I said, reach out to me and let's have that conversation. Also, if you're ready to step into your own dreams, reach out to me at Kimberly at WSBILLC@gmail.com and let's chat about how to take those steps so you can turn your dreams into goals. And if you want more of your resource for success, monetary donations are accepted. Now to support the podcast through Cash App, PayPal, Good Pods, Tip Jar, or go to the website at www.wsbilc.com. But again, we would like to thank you all for listening to us tonight. We'll be back next week with more amazing guests. Be sure to follow us on iHeartRadio or wherever you listen to your podcasts. But until then, enjoy the rest of your evening and good night.
Good night, everyone. We will be back next Thursday evening at 7 p.m. Follow us on Spreaker, www.spreaker.com/user/WSBI. View our new WSBI website anytime at www.wsbillc.com and on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Instagram.